Hello and welcome to another episode of Set Musings. So we're up to Odyssey now. So if this is the first video you've watched on the channel, just a quick explanation. So in Set Musings, what I do is I go through the set. In this case, it's Odyssey, so start of that block, large set, and I sort of slice and dice using the angle I use is I look at the themes, mechanics, the cycles in the set, and I also take what I call slices through the set using different criteria in Scryfall to get an overall idea of what the set's about. This isn't an in-depth these are the best cards to play in limited sort of thing. It's more of a this is the general thrust of the set and the stuff to look out for and how certain things are being dealt with in the set. So we will start off with one of these. Then I move on to an episode or a series which I call the Deck Durdle, which I do a sealed deck build, a couple of decks I build from a pool from a particular set. In this case it'll be Odyssey. So that gives us another lens to look through the set at, basically, is what it looks like when you open a sealed pool of 6 cards with just exclusively that set. Can look a little weird when we use the smaller sets, but I like doing it. It gives a nice sort of another way of looking at the set, I think, how the cards within the set interact. And then finally for the set I finish off with a Commander Fodder episode where I look at the set, so I suppose through the medium of the theme decks, but doing something a bit different with it, taking a theme deck and using it to build a commander deck. Now that can take lots of different angles, but basically I start off with a number of cards that I want to use from the deck. It can be the whole deck depending on what's in it and what the different color balance is, and if there's any legends in there and what the color identities are, those sort of things. And then using the tools in a program or a web service called Architect, I use that as a seed to act as a reminder to what cards I could potentially or would be good to play in the deck. And sometimes I precede it with other cards as well. And then once we've done a set, we just move on chronologically to the next one. So it would be Torment. So we get that way. I get a set a week through different lenses, and move on to the next set. So I was trying to decide actually how long I want to keep this up for. So I imagine the set musings will just keep on going until I run out of magic sets, as will probably the episodes of the Deck Durdle. The Commander Fodder episodes could possibly fall away or take a different form once I get from theme decks to the modern intro decks, where there was that period where there were only 40 cards in there. I'll see what happens. I might experimentally do one, but I've always found that generally that the set, when they were doing theme decks, they lend themselves a little bit better to Commander Fodder episodes generally when I've experimented in the past with that, but we'll see how that goes. But certainly my plan is just to hammer through the sets until we find ourselves back up to the most recent set where I haven't already done a set musings, and that's something that's only happened very recently for recent sets, so I'm just going to keep on going. So let's dive in and take a look at this set. As you can see here, I've got it all set up in Scryfall to look at different slices. So before we do that, just very quickly, let's have a look. So just things to look out for generally, and obviously you'll see this through the cycles that I do and the slices. So we've got filter lands in here. There's a Graveyard Matters theme, and you'll see various keywords and abilities that lend themselves well to that. We've got token creatures, unusual tribes apparently, so that normally means that it's creature types that we haven't seen before, and I believe that'll be things like cephalids, squirrels. I don't know if there's an antelope tribe in here, but I think antelopes were introduced in this set for the first time. to Magic. Then we got Flashback and Threshold in here as like new keywords and abilities. So let us dive in. 352 cards, so it's a large set. Again, they do this back then when they were doing this sort of balance thing where it was just 110 commons, 110 uncommons, 110 rares, 20 basic lands. Everything was equal. I'm just going to scroll down. Oh look, there's an antelope. Okay. At this point I'm just, so you can get a feel for the consistency of the artwork here. Oh, here's our cephalids. Spurred soldiers. There's probably quite a few interesting combinations of creature types as well, I suspect. Although not quite as complicated as you're getting in on modern cards where it might have like 3 different creature types. That reminds me of artwork from another card. I'm trying to remember now. You can see there's quite a bit of the budgie octopus. It reminds me of whenever I see cephalids, it makes me think of, was it the Sea Devils episode from Doctor Who? I'm trying to think of the Doctor that period. Would it be John Pertwee? I think will be the era. Oh, we got braids. Skeletal scrying. You'll notice actually in the set, can you see up here these little tombstone symbols? That was as a signifier that it was a sort of graveyard matters card. And you'll see this as we go through the block as a whole as well. There's certain graveyard things going on which you could argue caused some of the sets to be a bit unbalanced colour wise. I think this set might be fairly balanced. Oh, there's Kamal. The legends of this period, it's not unusual to find them being reprinted in later sets. I think Kamal was reprinted in at least 10th edition. It's also interesting how different the multicoloured artwork tends to look. It'd be interesting to see what that would look in. Oh, well, I don't know if you could do it in a regular flat frame without this weird sort of metallic gold border type of thing. But it tends to make the artwork seemingly pop in a different way. We must remember to have a look at the artwork as well for the lands properly. Okay, so let's go in. So first of all, we've got a cycle of, I think they just call these, do they call these burst cards? Yeah, bursts. So instant or sorcery, life burst, ether burst, mind burst, flame burst, muscle burst. They're all at common. And it scales up based on whether or not there are other, that card is in the graveyard, or a copy of it is in the graveyard. So we've got life gain on white. It's a bounce spell on blue, discard on black, X damage on red, and pump spell on green. And we have a cycle of desires. So Kotai's desire Abishans, Patriarchs, Camels and Cetans. All at common, all auras. So they allude to a notable character in the storyline of Odyssey. And they're all supposed to be holding, what is that, the Mirari in there. So the white one, and they've got threshold on them as well. We'll come to threshold in a moment. So you have threshold as long as 7 or more cards are in the graveyard. And they all have that. But you can see the ability is increased, I suppose. Well, yeah, you get an additional ability based on you meeting threshold. So the white one, enchanted creature can't attack. The blue one, enchanted creature has flying. Black one, it gets +2/-2. The red one, first strike, and the green one's a pump spell. But you can see here with the threshold, you get something extra. So on the white one, enchanted creature can't block. The blue one, it can't be the target of spells or abilities. Additional +2/-2 on the black one. Red one, +3/+0 in addition to the first strike. And then the green one, all creatures able to block enchanted creature do so. So it's like a lure type spell, I suppose. Oh, we got some doggos. So Cycle of Hounds, Patrol Hound, Phantom Whelp, Filthy Cur, Mad Dog and Wild Mongrel. In this set, the creature type is Hound. That's been altered or oracled or whatever you want to call it to Dog. So 2/2 for 2. And you can see here they all have some sort of ability stapled to them, either activated or triggered. So this one triggers off a discard, gets first strike until end of turn. This one, when it attacks or blocks, it bounces. And this one, when it's dealt damage, you lose life. Okay, not too good. At the end of your turn, if Mad Dog doesn't attack or come under your controller's turn, sacrifice it. Wild Mongrel, discard a card from your hand. Wild Mongrel gets +1/+1 and becomes the colour of your choice until end of turn. Okay, so a bit all over the shop. What have we got? Land auras. Okay, these are all uncommon. Yeah. Oh, we've got Squirrel's Nest. So they enchant a land, and enchanted land has something. The white one, tap, sacrifice a creature, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. The blue one, tap, discard a card from your hand, gain control of a target creature. So the first two, you have to do something in addition to tapping it. On the black one, Caustic Tar, the enchanted land has tap, target player loses 3 life, so there's no extra cost there. On the red one, when enchanted land becomes tapped, destroy it, and Steam Vents deals 1 damage to that land's controller. That player moves Steam Vines to a land of his or her choice. And then the green one, enchanted land has tap, put a 1/1 green squirrel token, creature token into play. So the only similar templating, I suppose, is the tap. The rest of it is up for discussion on each card. It's slightly different. I don't think I need to anything. Yeah, so like I'm looking at my notes here, as I pointed out, you know, there's some have a positive, some have detrimental. So the Vors. So well, they're all actually Lurgoyfs. So we've got Lurgoyfs here. They're rare. and they're determined by the number of, the power toughness is determined by the number of cards, a number of a certain type of cards in all graveyards. So with Cantivore, it cares about enchantments cards in graveyards to dictate what its power toughness is. You'll also notice it looks like they've all got an extra ability, so attacking, so this has vigilance on it. The Cognivore has flying, and its power and toughness is based on the number of instant cards in all graveyards. Mortivore has regenerate on it, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Magnivore, its power and toughness is equal to the number of sorcery cards. It has haste on it. And Terravore has trample, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of land cards in all graveyards. Now you can see also there's no there's inconsistency with the CMC. So like Cognivore, it's like 8 to cast, 6 and 2 blue, as opposed to, say, these like the Terravore and the Cantivore, it's like 1 and the 2 colours to cast. So yeah, it's a bit over the shop CMC wise. Obviously those abilities are what you would call in colour. They're sort of relevant to the particular colour. Another cycle of retrievers. So 2/2 creatures, although the CMC again is variable based on the cards. So here it's 2 and a white for the white one, 4 and a blue, 3 and a black, 4 and a red, and the green one is 2 and a green. So when they come into play, you get to return something from a graveyard. So the white one, it's enchantments. The blue one is an instant card. The black one is creature. Red one's a sorcery, and the green one is a land. So yeah, fairly straightforward. A cycle of rights. So instants and sorceries at common, and you get to discard a number of cards. So you cast it, and you can see again the mana cost is variable. It's inconsistent, and then you discard any number of cards from your hand, and then you get, it gives you some sort of effect. So the white one, creatures you control get +0/+1 until end of turn. Counter target spell unless a controller plays 3 for each card discarded this way. What's going on here? Discard any number of cards from your hand. Target player reveals his or her hand, and you choose a non-land card from it for each card discarded this way. That player discards those cards, so you got hand disruption. The red one looks like it's some sort of fire breathing going on there. Creature you control get +1/+0 until each of turn for each card discarded this way. Rites of Spring. And you get to search your library for that many basic land cards. Reveal those cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. That's an interesting effect. Cycle of Shrines. Rare enchantments. So yeah, we've got consistency on these ones again with the CMC, so that's good. Makes sort of trying to compare them, I suppose, a little bit easier. So let's have a look and see what they do. So whenever a player plays a spell that play gains X life, where X is the number of cards in all graveyards with the same name as that spell. Okay, so they're doing that thing again where they care about cards of a given name in graveyards, and they affect they scale the spell in some way. Or alter the spell in some way. Is it just, I'm just looking, actually no, it does seem to be straight. Yeah, it's scaled based on the number of cards with that name. Number of cards in all graveyards with the same name. Yeah, so squirrel. Oh, cycle of spheres. These are all actually in white, but they care about a certain colour. So there's a white one that cares about green, one that cares about black, one that cares about red, one that cares about blue, and one that cares about white. In fact, I wonder, is the order any different? I imagine they'd be, if I sort them by... Oh, no, that was the order they were in the set. Okay, fair enough. So they're all three, yeah, they're all three in a white. Oh, and they will just, yeah, they will just prevent that 2 damage by a source of a specific colour. Okay. Oh, brilliant. Our cycle of, or one of our cycles of lands. So these are the Sac Lands. So they come into play tapped, one for each colour. Once they're untapped, you can tap them for the appropriate colour. But you can also sack them and generate 1 mana of any colour. So, yeah. Interesting colour fixing, but obviously once you've done that, that card's in your graveyard. But as you've seen, there's all sorts of graveyard shenanigans going on as well. So. Then we've got another cycle at uncommon. So those were at common. These are the threshold lands. So they care about whether or not you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. So you get an extra thing going on. So you tap add white to your mana pool, but it deals 1 damage to you. And there's an ability that can only be activated, as I've said, if you meet threshold. And you can see there's a cost to it as well of a single colour. So the white one, tap, sacrifice nomad, same, you gain 4 life. The blue one is player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards from his or her hand. What's that? -2/-2 on the black one. You can see all of these, you have to sack the land. 2 damage on the Barbarian Ring. And a pump on the Centaur Garden, so it's all tap and sack. So yeah, cost, tap it, sack it. Boom. Right. Oh, ATOGs. So we're now moving on to our multicoloured stuff. So cycle of ATOGs, including also a 5 colour ATOG or ATOG. That one's actually at rare. I included that. It's technically not part of the cycle, but I just wanted to make sure you see it. So the others are all uncommon. And they all have a CMC of 3. These would be, what's that, allied colours. And you can see by doing something it pumps the creatures. So for the Fantatog, you sacrifice an enchantment, but you can see there's actually 2 abilities, and I'm assuming that's because they're sort of 2 colour creatures. So you get a white type thing. Well, oh yeah, sorry. What happens is the resulting ability is always a pump spell, +1/+1, but the sort of thing that you sacrifice or the sort of thing you do is something that will be associated with that colour. So here you've got enchantment or discard, and you'll notice as well, of course, nothing gets tapped here. So this, if you can keep discarding things, you can keep pumping it until you empty your hand, as long as of course you meet a criteria. And you can see here with the, so what do we got? So we associate, yeah, so blue is associated with discard, and then the black thing cost to pay would be remove 2 cards from graveyard from the game. So here, yeah, you can see you get this carryover. We've seen this before. So, you know, effectively you see the same thing on the card which has the same colour there. So let's look at the one that isn't, I haven't seen so far. So yeah, red, sacrifice an artifact. It's a red type thing. Same on this one because we've got red, then green, sacrifice a land. And then same on here, and then white, we're back to sacrificing enchantments. And then with the Atog or Atog, you get to sacrifice an Atog. Atog gives +X until end of turn, where X is sacrifice Atog's power. It's a 5/5 for 5, and it's a legend. So you can, yeah, tribal Atogs if you really want to. There's a cycle of rare gold spells. Literally just, yeah, 2 colour at rare. Iridescent Angel, Shadow Mage, Infiltrator, Vampiric Dragon, Decimate, Mystic Enforcer. Cycle of Eggs. So these are all artifacts, 5 uncommon artifacts with 2 tap. Sacrifice this card, add 2 mana, 1 mana each of the colours of the allied combination, and draw a card. But you have to, yeah, you have to sack it. So that's like a one-shot, mana burst, which makes a lot of sense being an egg. I like the artwork on these. They look cool in foil. I wonder, I think they were foiling stuff at this point, weren't they? But I think the promos were pretty rare, few and far between, but I'm not sure about that. Maybe we'll find out when I look at the costs of the cards. So we've seen non-basics at common, we've seen non-basics at uncommon. We now have rare lands of within that rarity. There is also a cycle. You can see there's, you know, other rares as well that aren't part of the cycle. So there's this cycle of rare filter lands which filter for the 2 colours here. So we've got 1 for each of the 2 colour allied combinations, and they simply take 1 mana of any colour and change it to 2 mana of the appropriate colour. Flashback was in the set, as I've mentioned already. And there were some vertical cycles which we should see in a moment, but I just wanted to show you Flashback as a whole, just how widespread it is. So we've got 30 cards in Odyssey with Flashback on them. So with Flashback, you can play the card from the graveyard for its flashback cost, then remove it from the game. So you get to cast the spell regularly, and then you can flash it back later from your graveyard. And again, you can see with these, I think all of them have that tombstone symbol on them. Except, well, what I've done here actually is I've searched for, so we've ended up with cards that actually have flashback and cards that care about flashback. So this doesn't have flashback, but so target player removes all cards with flashback in his or her graveyard from the game. So that's flashback hoser. But all the cards that have the flashback ability on there, you'll see have that tombstone symbol. Another one which doesn't have flashback on it but cares about flashback. So this one helps with your flashback costs. but punishes your opponent. Catalyst stone, that is. So lots of flashback. Just trying to think what I remember now. I had this slice. So for some reason here I've got Odyssey cards where the colour and the colours. Oh, okay. I was just curious. There's a whole load of yeah, red. So these are in here, in amongst this is what are they calling these Punisher spells? Yeah, I think that's it. So the vertical cycles. So Blazing Salvo here, Lava Blister. Is this them? Actually, no, this isn't showing all of them. But there were a set of so-called Punisher spells. So each of these red instant spells provide a target opponent with the choice of two generally unfavourable effects, one of which is direct damage. Blazing Salvo. Interesting. It's a molten influence. Oh, it's there. Yep, there it is. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller has molten influence and deal 4 damage to him or her. Blazing Salvo. Yeah, so there was this sort of there was this unless clause on them. Okay. Actually, I know why. One of them was at sorcery speed. And again, as you know, I can't spell very well. Oh, there it is, yeah. Destroy target non-basic land unless, yeah, so there's an unless clause. So they're all red spells with an unless clause on them. And there were a vertical cycle of thoughts: Thought Devourer, Thought Eater, Thought Nibbler. All had flying. They're pretty aggressively costed by all accounts. Yeah, wow. 4/4 flying, your maximum size. Yeah, so there's some sort of reduction here that counteracts the aggressively costing spell that affects your minimum hands, your maximum hand size as a consequence. 1/1 flying, 2/2 with flying, and 4/4 with flying in there. Now, one thing I'm just going to go back here because I don't think I pointed it out was if I go down to green. Here you can see we've got some token producers as well that had flashback. So we've got Chatter of the Squirrel. There's also a Roar of the Worm here, which does worm tokens. You can see they've both got flashback. And where's Call of the Herd gone? There it is. Yeah, so Call of the Herd is a 3/3. So for 3, puts a 3/3 elephant creature into play and also has flashback on it. The Squirrel's 1/1 is 1 to cast, puts a 1/1 in play flashback on it, and the Roar of the Worm is 7 to cast, puts a 6/6 in play. And relatively speaking, the flashback cost is a lot lower. Interesting. Okay. So we've mentioned Threshold already in terms of the cycles, just so you get an overview of how much generally beyond the cycles. So the cycles are within this count. So there's 44 cards in Odyssey which have Threshold on them. And that's across all sorts of things. So we've seen already there's Threshold on land, there's an artifact there, there's one on a multicolored card, and then it's pretty well represented across all colors. Although blue, look, there's only a single blue card there with Threshold. Onto my favourite bit now, the basic lands. So again, another set with pretty cool basic lands in them. Wonder how much that is. It's interesting, the price on the World Championship decks. They've actually been... Is that implying that they've been some of them have been reprinted? Yeah, some have, I think. Maybe not that one though. So how much? Let me just make sure I got the right one here. Oh yeah, I would have to pick the expensive one. That's an interesting game here actually. If you've got, I'm not going to do it on camera, although as much as I'm tempted of. Like, pick a card, the one you like the most, and see if it is actually the most expensive card, and see like how many times you get that right. So what's the most expensive one here? That one. Yeah, I can sort of see some of these hark back to older style cards. See, I like that one. Is that the most expensive? Oh yeah, wow. Was that 2 out of 3? I'm going to have to do them all now. What do you reckon? That one? Whoa. What's that? 3 out of 4. That one. Oh, yeah. 4 out of 5 I got right. So the only one was this one. I said, what was it? That one? And it was that one. And I can sort of understand why. It's a bit more of a classic look to it. Yeah, wow. I don't know if I've got some of these or not. Okay. Off a bit of a side thing there, but that was fun. So yeah, we're just going to do some slices now. So instance 44 instance. Let's see what sort of instancy things we've got across the colours. Yeah, remove target attacking creature from the game. So we're going to see probably main set, the largest set of the block. So more cards. But I think I've mentioned before, when you get this, so there was obviously a core set around at this time, which would have had more straightforward things like more straightforward removal, and then you'll find in the set often whatever it is, like here, this business in white of removing a target attacking creature from the game, there was an extra twist added to it, so you got to draw a card off of it. Don't use Trapple. Just looking in here for the. There's the. Let's look at their hand type card. So counter spells. Can spell unless control plays X. If that spell is countered this way, removing the game instead of putting it into. Yeah. Okay. So twist there. Oh, you draw 2 cards, then each other player draws a card. another counter spell here. So 3 and 2 blue for a counter spell, but it does have flashback on it. Where's that? So we've got Entombs in the set. Where's our removal in black? Execute. Destroy target white, because that's white. Skeletal Scrying, which is our card draw in black, which you get at an alternative cost normally. Destroy target non-black creature if its toughness is equal to all cards in all grades. Okay, so again, you've got, you know, classic black destruction, but there's a caveat which is very much based on the theme of the set. So single black to do that, but its toughness is equal to or less than equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. Where's our direct damage red spell? Single red, 3 damage. Oh, so that, yeah, that's the one with the unless staple to it. There's an X red spell for damage, but it's dependent on this card being in the graveyard or a copy of this being in the graveyard. Oh, wow, 3 damage for 5. You get 5 with threshold. So is that not dissimilar to, what is it, Lava Axe, in a way, but only if, only if you've got threshold. So where's my green? So we've seen some green tokens, which is very much a green thing. Where's the pumping green? Yeah, so again, dependent on graveyard. We did have some card. I'm just looking, of course this is instant speed as well, so we probably are going to see some other removal and things like drawing green at sorcery speed. Oh, we do have a wrath effect. Sorcery speed wrath effect there. Guitar's wrath. Sorcery speed card draw. 3 cards for 4 mana. Extra turns. That's Traumatize. Bit of mill going on there. Well, quite a lot of mill actually. Do we have sorcery speed removal? We've got sorcery speed sacrifice. Oh, life gain with damage. And we've got, yeah, graveyard stuff going on in black. It's Firebolt. So we got a damage spell with flashback. Sorcery speed, land destruction, artifact destruction. Oh yeah, there's a lot of our sort of damage spells in red at sorcery speed here. And land. Oh yeah. Messing with people's land. Nobody likes that. Oh yeah, there we go. Deep Reconnaissance. There's our ramp. New Frontiers. Oh yeah, there's our way of dealing with enchantments. Oh, so yeah, so that's 3 cards that mess with basic lands. And we have a Decimate. Red green. Well, destroy target artifact, target creature, target enchantment, target land for 2 red green. Was that ever reprinted? Oh yeah, in Conspiracy, in Commander, the Commander stats, and it was a secret lair drop. Yeah, I can see that being slightly on the more expensive side. Your red-green deck. Okay, moving on. Slice through enchantments. Several of these which we've seen already. There's several enchantment auras going on here. some coin flipping. Giant creature gets +2/+2 with threshold. Well, okay. Cool. I won't go through many of these. I just want to get a feel with these. So we've got 56 enchantments in the set. We've got 149 creatures. And you can see there's all sorts of things here. We've got wolves, bird soldiers, clerics, lurgoyfs, nomads, more clerics, more bird soldiers, bird soldier legend, guardian, mystic, yeah, nomad mystic, nomad legend. Yeah, so certainly some tribal stuff and combinations of things that you may not have seen before. There's horrors in the set. Minion legends. A minion rat. Do you have a minion hound? Probably not. Oh, there's the odd vampire. Yeah, quite a few minions. Minion tribal. Ah, dwarves. Okay. Ogres, barbarians, more lurgoyfs, more dwarves. That's Dwarf City. So how many centaurs? There's an elemental there. A couple of elemental. Oh yeah, squirrels are a thing. And then I think this will be the last page here. Centaur Druid Legend. So yeah, Centaur Tribal. Could be a thing. Although the rarity is a bit high. That's the other thing. I'm more thinking like, you know, outside of the set. Within the set, if you're playing tribal, obviously you're going to be more interested in those tribes that appear at common at the lower rarities, because you're more likely to find those. And again, I'm talking within a sealed deck environment, obviously. But yeah, if you're looking to build quirky, you know, any eternal format deck, then this is a good set to look for those unusual tribes and combination tribes. Okay, here's our legends. So some of these we've seen already. So we've got a couple in white. I thought they said Piranha for a moment. Piranha, Nomad Captain. Lieutenant Kurtar, Abishan, Caphalid Emperor, Braids, Cabal Minion, Cabal Patriarch, or Cabal. Camel Pit Fighter, Seton Croson Protector, Togatog, and there's the Mirari, which is a legendary artifact. And I think I mentioned that there was a cycle in here that mentioned various characters in the set, and you can see the characters in here as well. So let me have a look at this again, remind myself what this does. I think I've got one of these in foil from one of those special sets that I used to release. Whenever you play an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 3. If you do, put a copy of that spell onto the stack. You may choose new targets for that copy. So, oh, is it from the Vault's Relics? Yeah. Okay, so we're back to the set as a whole here. I don't think, because I've been through those individual slices, I really need to go back, scroll back through this again, but just scroll down quickly. Oh, there's, I didn't mention about antelopes. Some pretty pretty cool artwork in here. It looks pretty unique, actually. It looks like this set was shifting a little bit with the uniformity. Not necessarily in a bad way, but yeah, there's some of this stuff would obviously look good super large, like as a poster, you know, poster size. It's pretty funny. This is a pretty scary artwork as well that give you nightmares. Okay. Right. Next up. So, let's see what I'm at. Oh, Nut Collector is our most expensive card in the set. It's 57 bucks. A list version, so that's one where they sort of stick it into a slot in a booster, as they're starting to do now. And some of these older cards, that version's slightly cheaper. Beginning your upkeep, you may put a 1/1 green squirrel creature token to play. Threshold. All squirrels get +2/+2. There we go. There's your squirrel tribal. Let me go back one step here. So I'm going to move over to the fawn and we'll go down. There we go. Oh, Deserted Temple. Add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool. 1 tap, untap a target land. So that was part of that, you know, where I had the cycle, and then down here there were 3 additional rares. There was one that you could filter for multicolour. Add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool, or use it as a filter land. You have to have 5 mana of any colour, and then you could get the Wooburg colours. Deserted Temple. Add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool, but 1 tap, untap a target land. Petrified Forest. Tap, add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool. Tap, sacrifice Petrified Field. So Petrified Field. Return target land card from your graveyard to your hand, and then Tarnish Citadel. Add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Tarnish Citadel. So you can see all of these generate. If you don't do anything else, they just generate excuse me, colourless mana, and then they have an additional ability that does other things as well, other utility. Okay. Oh yeah, I knew Entomb was in here, and it's probably on the more expensive side. There's also an Invocation version. So 33 time stretch. Looks like this set, the cards are holding their value up. Although there's nothing above $100. Time stretch, Tarnish Citadel. So we'll stop when we get down to $10. What we got? Mind Slicer. You can see quite a few of these either haven't been reprinted or only reprinted in either one set or special sets or special decks. That one was reprinted in Eternal Masters, which doesn't obviously make sense. That's from Mystical Archive. Tainted Pact. $10. Chance Encounter down to 15. Wow, big price difference between the Modern Horizons version and the Odyssey version. Druid's Cool. What was a Secret Lair drop? Okay. That was reprinted in Commander. Patron Wizard. Squirrel Mob. Modern Horizons. Catalyst Stone, which we saw. Crystal Quarry, which we've seen. So yeah, now we've got, so around Crystal Quarry, and we get below $10 there. Price of Glory. EDH. All Stars from EDH Rec. Yeah, usual suspects. Diabolic Tutor, Entomb, Buried Alive, Tainted Pact. Obviously the filter lands that decimate. The threshold lands in certain colours where the ability is something super useful. Overruns in here as well. Seize the Day. And yeah, so we're seeing a lot of those filter lands here crop up. Yeah, Careful Study, Millikin, Traumatize. Yeah, no surprises here then. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool set. There's, you know, lots of interesting cards crop up in this set that then get used in, you know, formats beyond this time frame. So yeah, it was good. There's lots of ways. I always enjoy doing the set musings because it's it's like it's set at this point. It's sets that I've never played at all. I'm aware of them, but I've never played. Once we get up to modern cardboarders, so we get into trying to think of the set. Was it around about 8th edition? Mirrodin set, I think, original Mirrodin. So modern border era, I would have played retrospectively on MTGO when they went through all the modern era sets. So I would have done, for that I would have done drafting, not sealed though. So yeah, it's good to just take a look at these in some depth. So next video, we've got, that's my card pool I'm working to. So we've got an Odyssey card pool. Yeah. Theme decks we got to choose from. We got Lift Off, 1-2 Punch, Pressure Cooker, and Trounce-O-Matic. And I will not be building a Braids deck. Is that still banned in EDH? What I've decided to do is take the Lift Off deck and, surprise, surprise, build an Abishan deck, seeing as we have a commander in the set. Oh, sorry, yeah, a legend in the set. It's not in the original deck. I've had to add it, so it did mean I had to gut the deck out quite considerably, because I had to take all the white out, obviously, and anything that doesn't make sense in the deck that isn't on colour for a mono blue deck. But I'm looking forward to see what recommendations come up using the algorithm. I'm going to additionally seed it a little bit more with sort of mono blue friendly cards, and a couple of clones there as well, so I can clone up cephalids, so it's going to be Cephalid Tribal. So I hope you've enjoyed that episode, and looking forward to the next few episodes in the set. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now.